Wild boars, who were once merely shadows on the ledges of the woodland, have suddenly emerged into the sunshine, bringing with them a nightmare that is truly terrifying. They are destroying crops, entering houses, and putting people's lives in danger in the state of Colorado, where they are breeding out of control. To this day, nobody considers it to be a joke. The quest begins, not for the purpose of entertainment, but for the purpose of survival. It is today that we follow those individuals who have chosen to engage in the silent conflict between man and beast. From deep forest folklore to a current nightmare in Colorado, wild boars have been a troublesome topic. The wild boars that were once only the subject of stories told in the deep forests have evolved into a real threat in the state of Colorado. As a result of their uncontrollable reproduction, they have moved from the boundaries of the forest into residential areas and farmland, resulting in significant damage to crops and property, and even posing a hazard to the safety of humans. At first, the damage was rather minimal, consisting of only a few scrapes on the cornfields. But over the course of time, herds of boars started showing up in droves, wreaking havoc on the countryside at night like a torrent that never stopped coming. At this point in time, hunting is no longer merely a hobby, it has become a necessity. Providing protection for land, crops, and livelihoods has evolved into a responsibility. On that particular day, the hunt was painstakingly planned out. A meticulous cleaning process was performed on the weapons, and each bullet was examined in great detail. Additionally, it appeared as though the hunting dogs were aware of the tense environment. As the crew walked into an area that displayed clear indications of wild boar activity, they saw footprints etched into the mud and grass that had been uprooted, both of which served as proof that could not be refuted. All of the hearts were pounding in every breast like a bowstring that was about to break. In front of them was a cornfield that had just been harvested, and it was sprawling and flat, making it ideal for an ambush. Just a few minutes later, as was to be expected, a giant wild boar emerged from the field and began to gently move down the edge of the field. One of the hunters raised his rifle, took aim, and then pulled the trigger once he had brought his breath under control. As soon as the gun was fired, the animal was struck, and it immediately fell to the ground. The advice that was given was to keep moving. Everyone in the company was aware that this was just the beginning, despite the fact that enthusiasm immediately spread throughout the circle. The entire gang changed their course and moved in the direction of the hills that were behind them. Unforgiving terrain that is characterized by boulders and dense grass, making it a perfect location for wild boars to rest throughout the day. A member of the group climbed to a high viewing point which provided an excellent view. Not long after that, a shadowy figure sprinted down the slope, going in the direction of the thick shrubs below. The moment he raised his gun, he took precise aim, and then he pulled the trigger without any hesitation. After being struck, the animal fell to the ground, its heavy body causing the grass to become more compact in its wake. Immediately after that, the hunters were taken aback when they witnessed a herd of wild boars rushing down the hill on the opposite side of them like a flood, their hooves causing the ground to shake. One of the hunters raised his gun, and after a few anxious seconds, he was able to take down one of the boars, which caused the herd to become disorganized and panic. Following this, he proceeded to shoot and kill another pig, which caused the other boars to flee in fright and vanish into the forest as silence finally returned. The gang of hunters, spurred by a burst of resolve, immediately charged toward the direction where the wild boar herd had fled. Their hearts were pounding with the excitement of the pursuit, and the instinct of the hunt was coursing through their veins. This occurred right at that moment. The hunting party immediately dispersed into separate groups as soon as they entered the forest, with each member creeping stealthily through the dense timber. The atmosphere was tense and tensely tight. They were aware that the wild boars were probably hiding somewhere in the underbrush, and that they were vigilant, furious, and prepared to fight back at any moment. They were forced to break formation when the hunting hounds charged after them, which caused the pack of wild boars to scatter in a state of fear. The hunters, their eyes fixed with resolve, closed in, and resolute in their intention to ensure that none of the prey escaped. During the violent standoff, a band of hunting dogs cornered a wild boar, which was yelling angrily throughout the situation. Instantaneously, it launched itself toward a hunter and broke free of its confinement. During the brief moment of heightened tension, 3 shots were fired. The final one was the one that caused the boar to collapse, and it was gasping for air in the midst of the clearing in the woodland. In a last-ditch effort to get away, one wild boar made a frantic try, but the hunters were already waiting in the wings. All of a sudden, it picked up pace, collided with one of them, and continued to charge ahead, still struggling for the opportunity to escape. Following a few moments, they came upon yet another wild boar. The hunter did not show any reluctance prior to raising his firearm. When a single clean shot was fired, the boar fell to the ground immediately. During the course of the lengthy pursuit, one of the hunters stumbled across a wild boar that was attempting to conceal itself. He remained silent, determined, and patient as he waited. The hunter pulled the gun at the precise moment that the boar turned to flee his pursuit. A direct strike from the gun caused the boar to fall to the ground, where it remained motionless for a moment. Another wild boar came a few moments later, this time coming from a different direction but still moving in the same direction until it reached its destination. The huntsman remained in his position, unruffled and prepared. Once again, he pulled the trigger as the time arrived for him to do so. There were 2 wild boars that were killed at the same place in a matter of seconds. Following a period of about an hour, they relocated to a lower level, a flat, open surface that is ideal for locating targets from a considerable distance. In this instance, the hunting dogs demonstrated their value. The hunters were compelled to move with extreme caution and in a practically silent manner because there were fewer trees, which meant that there were fewer hiding places for the game. It was only a few steps away when all of a sudden, a wild boar emerged from the edge of a thicket. An instinctive action was taken by one hunter, who raised his weapon and discharged it. A cloud of dust engulfed the animal as it fell to the ground after the shot was successful. The duration of the moment was only a few seconds, yet it was like confronting a ferocious beast head-on. No time to take a break. The bullet penetrated the animal's neck, causing it to fall to the ground instantly. He then spotted another target and shot. Suddenly, the hunting dogs went into a flurry of barking, which severely disrupted the silence that had been present. After hearing about a wild boar that was hiding deep behind the bushes, they found it. In a matter of seconds, the entire group charged forward, beginning an exciting pursuit of the target. A raw and powerful scene of nature in motion was being observed by the hunters, who stared in wonder. They went their own ways once more, resolute in their mission to locate the remaining boars. It's Shama. With their eyes constantly searching the surrounding area, the gang remained crouching at the edge of the shrubs as the sun began to set. It was then that they caught sight of a monster. A step back, maintaining distance, aiming, and pulling the trigger were all actions taken by the hunter. It was a shot that was executed faultlessly. The animal was unable to react before it passed out and collapsed. The month of November used to be a harvest season that was full with laughter at the Denizli-Siverol farm, which is located in the state of Turkey. However, wild boars have had a devastating impact on everything this year. All of the ears of corn were nibbled, stomped, and left in a state of destruction. Hunters in the area, fueled by irritation and fury, came to the conclusion that it was time to take action. In the early hours of the morning, they got into their well-known hunting truck and drove in a direct direction toward the expansive fields of Dinsley-Sibling. It took only 15 minutes for a couple wild boars to make their appearance. Although there was a single shot fired, the animal continued to charge forward. It was a relief to see the hunting hounds getting closer. The target had been secured. Not long after that, additional boars were observed. The group performed their movements with pinpoint accuracy, obstructing escape routes, and raised their weapons. Both animals were killed by 2 rounds. Just right. After a few minutes had passed, still another boar suddenly appeared in the field. Everyone on the team remained huddled in the tall grass, holding their breath as they did so. There was a shot fired. All of a sudden, the target fell to the ground before it had the opportunity to react. My acquaintance was engaged in a tense pursuit in another location. With his years of experience, he was able to quickly eliminate his target. There are wild boars in this area that are particularly brazen and violent. Some of them even charge directly at human beings. Despite this, the hunters maintain their composure and react swiftly with lethal precision. In an instant, a noise emanates from the opposite side of the room. There is a chill in the air. There is still another beast that emerges like an arrow. However, there is no way that it will succeed this time. Marksmen with years of experience are already locked and ready to go, as the air is shattered by gunfire. Almost immediately, the animal falls to the ground and collapses in the middle of the field. The news arrived before they had even had a chance to rest. The adjoining cornfield was home to a herd of wild boars that were hiding out. They resumed their journey devoid of any hesitance. As soon as a few minutes passed, anarchy broke out. To the extent of a deluge, the boars spilled forth. One of them was the only one they were able to bring down despite the gunshots and shouted demands. They were aware that this quest was not yet ended, and they planned to come back the following day.